Yeah, my name is John Stuckey. I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, going on 4 years sober from opiate addiction.
I'm a recovering addict named Chris.
My name is Colton Baker. I'm a recovering heroin addict.
Hi, my name is Jesse. I'm a recovering heroin addict.
My name's Luke. I'm 33 years old. I'm a recovering heroin addict.
My name is Justin, and I am a recovering heroin addict.
My name is Courtney. I am a person with a substance use disorder.
And before I moved into recovery house, I had basically exhausted all my resources. All my money went towards my addiction. Thankfully, my family cared enough about me to help me get into treatment, both financially and, support-wise, morally, emotionally.
And I've had some bad things in my past happen to me, a lot like other addicts. I've had someone very close to me pass, and it's been 5 years since she's passed, and I haven't been able to talk about it, nothing to anyone, and my therapist got me to talk about it, and I'm more freely to talk about it to other people now. So, and that was a big part of my depression, was that lost someone very close to me at a young age that I cared a lot about, and that therapy does wonders to us addicts, especially our depression. Our depression is a big part of the reason why we use, I think.
In addiction, we lose so much hope. We lose so many, not only just material things, we lose ourselves. We start to not even understand who we are and some of the things that we do, and we find ourselves in a place where we never imagined being. And one day when you wake up and you're in that world that you've become to learn how to navigate through, but you really don't understand, you have to be able to regain back a lot of those things that you lose. Yourself, your financial situations, your decision making, your interactions, relationships, and part of that is learning how to live. I literally got to the point that I had my own apartment, I maintained my own apartment, but it really wasn't. I think a turning point for me came in understanding that I literally did not even know how to live again, was that my brother came to visit me in my apartment because of his concern about what was going on. And we sat down and we talked, and it was kind of pretty slick, and he just kind of went through the apartment, and we sat down. He saw how unkept my apartment was, and it was in disarray. It was literally in a condition that people shouldn't be living in, and it really hit me when he pointed that out to me. And that's when I realized that I had to make some changes. I had to regain back those things that I used to have. The transitional living, when I decided to take advantage of that, literally helped to change my life.
I've been suffering from this disease for about 10 years. I was been to treatment center after treatment center. I, lost hope a long time ago. My family lost hope. My loved ones lost hope. It came down to a life or death situation for me. It was either I was going to get clean or I was going to go on to the better ends. If it wasn't for the recovery house, if it wasn't for the 12-step programs that I attend and do daily, I would still be in a gutter or under a bridge somewhere, trying to find $5 so I can get my next fix. Because that's what I thought I was worth.
Because, I had a relapse in the house. And if it wasn't for living in these houses and it getting caught and brought to attention relatively quickly, it could have escalated into, potentially death, another bottom, additional jail charges, and being broken homeless. But because of the guys that live in the houses, the accountability that is here, it was caught quickly. I was able to get right back on track and then continue to make adjustments in my program and continue to move forward.
So basically my experience with medically assisted treatment is I was 5 years hooked to heroin. I went in and out of multiple treatment centers and kept on leaving on this medication called Suboxone, which is basically a synthetic opiate. I don't think I really maintained anything longer than 4 days sober on Suboxone. It was a medication that helped me with detox, but ultimately transformed into dependence. And at that point, it was one of those things where I would utilize it, especially when I realized it had street value. I would use it for a little bit, and then I would cap out. My tolerance on it would quickly go to a point that I needed more, or it wasn't satisfying needs, in which then, depending on what my circumstances were, I would either sell it at that point to get dope, or I would only take it when I didn't have money. So I basically used it as a crutch in gaps in my addiction. Finally, in a moment of clarity on my probably 6th intervention with my family in the treatment center, I basically told them, what I'm doing is not working. Going back to your guys' house, my parents' house, staying on Suboxone, things like that, it wasn't working. My addiction will not allow me to completely shut itself down, in which I am begging and pleading for your guys' help to step in and basically make a decision for me and make some recommendations, and whatever you suggest, I will do. This is 5 minutes that I'm giving you. That while I'm literally shutting my brain down. My brain will not allow me to have this conversation. And all I do is keep doors open in this process. So if I ever chime in, or if I ever make a suggestion, cut me off, because I'm lying or I'm manipulating, and I'm subconsciously probably doing it. And the recommendation was, John, you need to move into a transitional house, you need to get on Vivitrol. I was like, okay, let's start this next month, and they were like, hell no, we're doing this right now.
Here with you in St. Louis, Mississippi, misunderstood these towns through these eyes. The crowd might look down, but still the eye in the city so fair, hoping to stand. I don't know where to begin. Here with you in St. Louis, magnetized by broken dreams, sweet summer receive the unfortunate king here with you in St. Louis.
Been running transitional living houses called Recovery House for almost 3.5 years. I work at a treatment center called Assisted Recovery Centers of America. I'm a patient care coordinator and a peer support up there. I also am the president and executive director of Archway Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that helps fund people in recovery. We try to help fill those gaps that the system has as far as people that are needing or wanting treatment but yet are turned away due to financial barriers, family support issues, or just don't have the necessary means or resources to find appropriate treatment. What is Archway Institute? So Archway Institute is so basically when I got sober, when I utilized Vivitrol and therapy and a 12-step program, basically the realization that came over me was that I had been living a very selfish, egotistical, materialistic lifestyle. And, when you finally get to that point of being so down and out that you are contemplating suicide, making whatever change that needs to get made is what you got to do. And I put a lot of thought into, what was I going to do to get this happy, joyous, free mentality and to live the life that I wanted to live. And basically, I did this process of looking at myself from a third party, and evaluating myself and saying, okay, I'm going to follow John and, see if I could be recreated, would I be this person? And the answer was no. No, I would not be this person. He looks miserable. He looks like he's only worried about himself. He only looks worried about materialistic things, and he's not happy. And that was a deep thought for me. And I came to the realization, well, if I don't want to be that person, then who do I want to be? At the time, with under 6 months sober, my grandmother, who was one of my really close friends and relatives, was diagnosed with ALS, and she had been suffering with it for a couple years. I went and visited her. I stayed with her for about 3 months, and my grandmother, who me and her related, she was an alcoholic. Dealt with a lot of depression, things like that, and self-made woman. She was a widower when my dad was like 15 years old, and very independent woman, never remarried, very self-sufficient, financially seemed very successful, and she, when the way ALS works is, it affects all the muscles and body, but they call it being buried alive, because you're fully aware of everything that's going on because your brain is unaffected, but your whole entire body is being completely crumbled. And I will tell you that with her last 3 months of living, the happiest I've ever seen her. When she was bedridden, had no worries about materialistic things, relationships, when she was basically just so happy that her friends and family were there, with her. And, she held a lot of resentments, a lot of bitterness, and a lot of grudges against people. And I went to her funeral, and I saw the line of people that showed up to her funeral. And, cars all the way out to the end of the funeral home, and I was sitting there and I go, damn, this is a lady who has touched a lot of people and has done a lot for the community and has done a lot with others, and being the narcissistic, selfish person that I am, I looked internally with it, and I said, okay, John, if you were to die today, who would show up to your funeral? Not many. And that really drove me to make some drastic changes in my thought process and my behaviors, and what legacy did I want to leave behind. And in this process, a guy I know from the program, he used to work for me, had started up a coffee company and asked me to get involved. In this time, I realized I needed to make a career change, and didn't know quite what I wanted to do, but decided I was going to sell this coffee with this fellow, but what I was going to do with that money was whatever I made off of the coffee, I was going to donate it to different treatment centers, with the idea that I had the financial backing and support from my family, and I was blessed in that aspect to be able to get the proper treatment and help needed when I needed it. And come to find out that it's not readily available, and it's not available to everybody, and the biggest barrier is financial issues and support. It was one of those things, when we started, how is the family going to receive us? How is society going to receive us? How is this going to have a long-term effect on us? And we did a radio interview on the Glover Show, and my dad ended up blasting it out to everybody he knew, and it was crazy because the overwhelming support and appreciation from the people that honestly we didn't know what the reaction was going to be. And surprisingly, on the back end of it, my parents started getting all these phone calls from all these people, their friends that they'd known for 20-something years and longer, and come to find out, their kids were struggling with drug and alcohol issues, or they were aware of people struggling with drug and alcohol, or they themselves were in recovery or dealing with drug and alcohol issues, and I think that kind of drove my father to jump on board with this and really take the lead on growing this network, and it's been really exciting to see, and being able to help people when they're in need of it and they feel like they're lost, they feel like no one's there, and where do I turn? And we're able to assist them in whatever it is, whether they need a bed somewhere, whether they need housing, whether they need money for food, whether they need whatever it is, as little, a lot of people think, when they think of recovery and treatment, they're thinking of $100,000 treatment centers out in California, or Malibu passages, and the reality of the situation really is people for $100 to $500 is the difference between them satisfying the deductible, being able to pay for their medications, being able to pay for their first month's rent, to get into a house that could potentially get them all the resources that are needed, to be able to continue outpatient care or therapy, and there's a major gap that needs to get filled in the system. I've been working in the field now for close to 4 years, and it's a mess. I mean, it really is.
Here with you in St. Louis, Mississippi, misunderstood these towns through these eyes. The crowd might look down, but still behind the city so fair, hoping to stand. I don't know where to begin. Here with you in St. Louis, magnetized by broken inside. But being without you's getting harder every night. 'Cause I'm on a search for something I may never receive. The unfortunate king live with you and say no. People come and people go, we stay the same. I hold the key to stay inside my city. I live, city I die. Watch as the world passes by. Here with you, say live inside you.
St. Louis know about recovery. I mean, the recovery house has enabled me to become the best version of myself that I could possibly be. Through staying sober, through following a treatment plan, and like I said, taking direction from the people here. They're more than willing to mentor you if you're willing to buy into it. And I myself have actually become a manager within the houses because of my ability to take advice, follow direction, and it helps to keep me clean, to be a mentor for all these other guys.
Honestly, the recovery house means pretty much everything. I mean, if I didn't have the recovery house, I wouldn't know what meetings were. I wouldn't know what a 12-step program is. I wouldn't have a sponsor. I wouldn't know what Vivitrol is. And being around other addicts that are just like me or a lot of similar like me, they help me and motivate me to do better and motivate me to stay in recovery because they're trying to do the same thing. It's not just the houses, it's them too. Like I need those people here with me all the time. And like I said, it means everything to my recovery.
Well, it's been a developing process. When I first came in, it was just a few houses that was associated with the treatment center. Now we've grown tremendously, and now we're providing guys with resources for jobs, food, clothing, medication. We've got connections with treatment centers now. It's really been, an expanding process as the houses have expanded. Well, through these houses, I have become a house manager, and I've been provided job opportunities. I will be starting working at a treatment center as a peer specialist due to my experiences here in the houses. So, these houses are the building blocks to get people integrated back into society. And those guys that have successfully transitioned out of here not only are still associated with the houses by keeping in contact with the guys here, but while they were here, their time here, they expanded their network of individuals. And from living in these houses, you get into a routine, and the guys that are successful continue that routine outside of the homes.
People do recover from addiction. Addiction is a treatable disease, and there are some very simple steps that you can take to succeed. I'm a house manager with Recovery House. What is Recovery House to me? Recovery House is a resource for sobriety. People come to Recovery House who are struggling with addiction, who don't necessarily not have somewhere to go, but need a safe environment to succeed.
My life became chaotic in the use of drugs, and it was very much in despair. And the Recovery House was, I feel, a very key component in me recovering from the life that I started to live. Really need to take advantage of all the tools and all the resources that are available to you. Sometimes it's not a matter of just picking and choosing and deciding what you're not going to do. You really have to be open to all those things that recovering from the life that you found yourself in. Transitional living and recovery housing is I think critical because we lose so much in our active addictions that we have to allow ourselves time to be able to rebuild, to be able to regrow, to be able to relearn.
You know,
I like your shirt.
yeah, the shirt, you know, this just tells me that there are more people like me out there trying to help the next person. If it wasn't for the recovery house, if it wasn't for the 12-step programs that I attend and do daily, I would still be in a gutter or under a bridge somewhere, trying to find $5 so I can get my next fix, because that's what I thought I was worth. Today I have a whole new theory, I have a whole new outlook on life. You know, instead of being the selfish, insecure, egotistical person that I was, I try and put that aside on a daily basis and try to help the next guy. And that's really how we stay sober. That's how I stay sober. You know, I guide you through the book that somebody guided me through. And it's as simple as that. It really is. You just gotta take that first step and ask for help. And from there, I promise you, somebody will guide you.